Hello, gorgeous people, and welcome to another TV Central one-on-one podcast. I'm Aaron Ryan. This is episode 16, 2023, and the 10th of the Australian Survivor Elimination episodes, although this is the 13th elimination overall. This was arguably only the second tribal council where there was no blindside. Flick knew she was going, the entire tribe knew she was going, and the Australian public knew she was going. A simple case, perhaps, of the wrong decision on the day. Let's see if there's any regrets. Flick Palmateer is the 13th person eliminated from Australian Survivor. Flick, thank you for joining me at TV Central.
Oh, thanks for having me. That's a super funny intro. Everyone knew, including Flick.
Yeah, maybe we'll find out. First up, I mean, you've watched last night's episode. Did you see that immunity idol in the tree that you walked right past? Oh, I was just thinking that would have been a sliding doors moment.
So this is a little disclaimer. I actually haven't watched the episode yet. I had
Oh,
something on last night, but don't worry. I'm very well aware that I was like idol hunting like crazy. I actually lived it. So, okay, now to hear that I walked straight past one, that is hilarious. But when
it's
I watch it back, I'll be like, open up your eyes. What are you doing?
it just shows you, scurrying through trees and all that kind of stuff. And then the camera pans and actually shows one sitting like in the tree, like just near where you were.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Look, yeah, far out, man. I mean, that would have been really, really, really handy. Let me tell you that, because the writing was very much on the wall. I knew I was going.
Yeah. Well, you were an OG hero and made some alliances and even some friends there. You did decide to work with Shonee and Liz. Why did you originally switch over?
So, look, my time on the original Heroes, I think we were there on that beach for 18 days, right? Tribe Swap didn't have it. I think it was until day 17 or 18. That's 18 days of making really strong friendships with all these people in our tribe. And we really didn't go to tribal councils. So there wasn't much drama going on within our tribe. We cut off a bit of dead meat at the beginning that, really didn't need to be there. But other than that, like, I made great connections with all these people in my original alliance. Then come Tribe Swap. Tribe Swap was not kind to me. It was the hardest I've ever had to play the game, the most pitching I've ever done for my life. Like, it sucks when you're on the bottom. No one wants to talk to you. No one wants a bar of you. Everyone runs off and has conversations without you. You're stuck in the shelter. Like, it sucks. It's a really lonely feeling. And I was in Tribe Swap, I think it was like 10 days, and I was groveling for my life. And obviously, what else are you going to do? You're going to make promises. You're going to say whatever you can do to make it through to that merge. And so once merge, I think it was the tribal before merge. I pitched and pledged my allegiance to Shonee, George, and Liz. And of course, I was going to do that because I wanted to make merge. I wanted to be reunited with my original alliance, because on paper, that original alliance was looking like we had the numbers over the villains, right? And so, anyway, merge happens. Super excited that I've made it. We have this big, amazing feast. We land back on the beach, and I'm put in a big predicament. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't. Now, if I go with Shonee, George, and Liz, I am going to be betraying all of my original heroes. So, whereas if I go with my original heroes, which is what I ended up doing, I'm going to betray Shonee, George, and Liz. Either way, I'm going to be pissing off a lot of people. And I didn't know. And unfortunately, I was kind of just stuck in that position. Like, I got a really rough end of the stick, like when Tribe Swap happened, all those original heroes who I was aligned with went
Yeah.
to a different tribe. If I went with them, I would have been fine, because I wouldn't have come to merge like stuck in this weird position. Like, I really was up shit creek without a paddle. Like, I didn't know what to do. And on paper, it looked like we would have the numbers. But how am I supposed to know that Haley and Matt were going to flip and they were going to work with the vigilantes? So if I would have known that, and I didn't know, wasn't privy to that information. I didn't understand that Haley that they tried to blindside Haley. I didn't know any of that. So if I don't know that, like, I'm just making the best decision that I see for myself. And it's super easy for people to sit here and be like, oh my God, she's so dumb. She should have gone with Shonee, George, and Liz. And I'm like, yeah, bro, hindsight's the easiest thing. Like, yeah, like, anyway, it's funny.
Yeah, it's all good when you're sitting at home too on the couch and
Yeah.
not on the island. Was the rapport you built with Shonee and Liz genuine at all, or was that just part of the Australian Survivor strategy?
No, look, my strength in the game is my social game, but not from a manipulative standpoint. From I am just a great communicator. I'm great at talking to people. I've grown up like traveling the world. I'm a professional surfer. Like I've had to grow up on the road. Like I can have conversations with anyone from like all different ages, backgrounds, whatever. And like I just that's my strength going to the game. I can make friends really easily. And there was other few things that actually didn't make it to the edit that made it very difficult for me to
Yeah.
have a friendship with those people. Um, Not just the fact that I was going to vote Shonee out or Liz out. There was a couple of other things that happened, yeah, that didn't make it to air. And uh, anyway, like of course, I like those girls. We're 100% gonna catch up. Like it's nothing personal for me. Like this is a game. We came in here. Of course, there's a half a mil at stake, but no one had half a mil walking in there, so it's not like we had anything to lose. And like, and this is why it is such a great game because it is a social experiment and people's emotions get involved. And sometimes, you know, like I don't know, for me, I just take a really big step back and I'm like, you're playing a game. And I just did whatever I could to get to that point. And you know what? Of course, I'm going to catch up with Shonee and Liz in the real world. 100%. Like, it's just that I'm not that kind of person that's doing something out of, like, I am going for them. Like, literally, I went for them because they were a big threat. Are they not a big threat? They're a big threat in the game. Like, yes, they're great TV and they're great to watch, but they're also a really big threat.
Well, that's really interesting. This whole thing about like friendship versus game, because there is $500,000 on the line. And some people do blur the lines. I mean, Shonee and Liz, and I'm going by what we've seen, did seem genuinely hurt by the betrayal. They mentioned that the relationship from their side was deeper, and they discussed how that relationship may look on the outside, like hanging out and all that kind of stuff. Was that naive on their part, knowing that this is also a game, and someone is walking away with $500,000, or did someone just have the wrong line then? You just knowing that it was a game.
uh, no, exactly what you said in the lead up to that is that the lines get blurred, and that's why it is so amazing to watch. It is a social experiment, and that's why people get so hurt. That's why there's these big dramatic moments because, and it is really hard, but inevitably, I think like you can't like, and even Shonee and Liz moving forward as a duo, like they're gonna that's gonna have to come to an end at some point as well. And how that comes to an end, like they just can't. It's if they're both going to go to the end, like someone's going to have to turn on each other or something's going to happen.
Mm.
And it's just you can have these great friendships out there, but at the end of the day, when you come back home and you're sitting here, you just have to realize that like there is only one winner, and like I, you can tell the difference when someone's doing something out of spite or malice. And look, I am the opposite of that. All I'm trying to do is just get one more day in the game, one more day in the game, and at the same time as that, like I'm just trying to break up a strong duo. Strong duos are massive threats in the game, and unfortunately, yeah, like people love to watch Shonee, George, and Liz. So of course they don't like the fact that I'm going for them. But like if they were sitting in the game, they would understand too that they are a massive threat, and of course they'd want to go for them.
Yeah. You mentioned about the numbers before and hindsight, and that you thought that you were probably much safer with the OG heroes. Even with George, Shonee, Liz, well, I thought for the audience perspective, Matt seemed obvious that he was on that side, but you didn't. But they only really needed one more, maybe Haley, maybe Simon, or whatever, and that they seemed to have the numbers, or it was going to be very close anyway. It didn't seem like the OG heroes had an obvious majority, but I mean that's sitting at home, so obviously
Yeah.
that wasn't obvious.
Uh, no, not at all. And you're just seeing what's going to air.
Yeah,
So there's a lot that, you're talking 24 hours in a day, only an hour and a half or an hour of that makes it to TV. There is so many conversations going down. So there's no way in hell that you can possibly be privy to everything, and you do your best to be across every single conversation in the game, but it's incredibly tough. Like, you need to sleep at some point. But yeah, look, I made the best decision I could, and yeah, they making that. To be honest, like, it looks like I'm an idiot. Like, how could she have not known? But the thing is like, it's there's 24 people that play the game as well. There's 24 people's different realities and different takes on it.
Yeah.
And then there's the edit. Then there's what the edit's pretty close to what happened, but it's not exactly what happened, and especially not according to me as well. So.
It's a question I've asked everyone anyway, because I do understand about the edit, because now you would be on about 600 hours on the island, and obviously only 13 or 14 hours have gone to air. So I mean, that's a huge amount of time. So I normally do ask, what are we not seeing? I mean, not getting into big descriptions, but just generally, are you talking about the stuff that we're not seeing is about relationships and talking, who's
Oh
talking to
yeah,
who?
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, there's so much, like, just throughout the day, like, these, if you put in the time with these people, and that, like, I think I was saying it before, like, one of my strengths is my social game. Like, I love talking to people and I love getting to know people. People's whole life story, like, within 10 days of playing this game, and you're having amazing deep conversations with people, putting time in with them, and like, not everything is gameplay, because that would just be absolutely exhausting,
Mm.
unless maybe you're George. But George, I mean, yes, just but Pete, no, he doesn't talk about gameplay all the time. He's actually great value. So there's so many conversations going down, and that all builds relationships as well. Like, even though I might not be working with George, I might be having great conversations with him throughout the day, which was what was happening. Like, George and I have
Yeah.
played together for a long time now. Like, I literally can sit here and say he's one of my good mates. Like, he's coming to my wedding. So even it's just, and that's not portrayed on screen though. You know what I mean? Like, George and I are not buddy buddy on screen at all,
Yeah.
but like, we actually are. And so that's a great example. And like, even just there's hours and hours in the day where you're sitting around twiddling your thumbs, and you can't possibly talk strategy all day, like going and getting food and going out on the reef, and trying to go get crabs. And there's just, there's so many amazing funny moments that also don't make it as well. And that's all the things that I do remember. I think when I look back on my time, like, yeah, the strategy and the gameplay is exciting for me, but out of everything, for me, it's the friendships that have come from this game. Like, even from the first season that I played, like, I look at some of those people as some of my closest friends. Like, what would usually take 5 years in the real world to form a friendship, like that takes 10 days in the game of Survivor. You don't have any distractions. You don't have your mobile phone. You don't have your to-do list. Like, you are literally, your job is there to, get to know these people.
Yeah. I just want to quickly go in another direction for a moment. A lot is said about the alpha males. They're stacked, the meat tray, tough and challenges.
Yeah.
However, I want to take a moment and mention that these strong women we have, including yourself. Yes, someone like Sean might have an advantage in some of the challenges, but maybe a third were about physical strength. Some have been a bit mental, such as puzzle challenges, and the women do really well in the physical endurance ones, such as the ones last night where Haley and Liz were the last two standing. I see a lot of commentary about these alpha males, but I would say that for 2/3 of the challenges, that the women have the advantage. What would you say to
Yeah,
that?
that's a really good call. I think there's this major misconception in the very beginning of the game. Look, Australian Survivor is a really physical game, and you want to be winning those immunity challenges when you're still on your tribe, right? Cause the less you go into tribal council, the better. You come merge, you've got the numbers, all that sort of thing. And that's when it pays to have those big, burly, strong guys, because that's when they can do all the heavy lifting in those challenges, and that pays off. But come merge, like, this whole, we've got to get rid of the alpha males because they're strong and they're going to win the individual immunities. That's bullshit, because the individual immunities are usually the ones where it comes down to, the strength or something. It's more like a power to weight ratio strength. So, if you're looking at people like And especially people like Haley and Liz, who, you know, Liz is super tall. She's a pole vaulter. She is like really lean at this point too. So her power to weight ratio is going to be amazing. So when you're looking at holding up a percentage of your body weight, Liz is going to smash everyone. And so is Haley. And like, that's where the women like really come into their own, because people like Simon or Sean or Sam, they're big dudes. And like, when it comes to holding 20% of their body weight, that's a lot for them, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness, time's run out already. I guess I'll finish by saying, how many times have you seen since you've been eliminated that Flick has been given the flick from Australian Idol? I mean, so from Australian Survivor, sorry.
How Flicker's been given the flick. To be honest, I just woke up. I like I said to you, I haven't watched the episode. I woke up this morning, I made my coffee, and I sat down here to do all my PR. And I actually haven't even scrolled Instagram yet. I haven't scrolled social media, but I'm sure that I will be like reading so much of that. It's not the first time that flick's been flicked has been used.
Oh, geez, it must get the eye rolls. Um, Look, you were tough and a determined player, and you played the game using your gut. But you know, this time you, I don't know, misread the play, didn't misread the play. Hindsight, who knows? George had the numbers, and he was coming after you. But anyway, good luck with the wedding, and Flick, and thank you for joining me at TV Central.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. It's been fun to chat.
Flick Palmateer, 13th eliminated from Australian Survivor. Australian Survivor, 7:30 Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday on 10 and 10 Play. TV Central will be talking to almost every eliminated contestant. There will be a podcast available around lunchtime the day after elimination. That's it for this episode. For all the latest news, podcasts, streaming info, guides, and ratings, head to tvcentral.com.au. Until next time, I'm Aaron Ryan. Thanks to Flick Palmateer. Bye for now.